chosen one. You are not here by accident, and this moment was not reached by chance. Something quiet has already been decided in your favor, long before evidence appeared, long before words were spoken. What looked like restraint was alignment. What felt like delay was protection. God's provision often moves this way, not loudly, not publicly, but precisely opening doors after inner choices were made in silence. In quietness and trust shall be your strength. Stay with me. What you're about to hear will help you recognize what has already begun to shift around your life and why now matters. Chosen one. Stay with me for a moment and resist the urge to rush past what is unfolding here. There are seasons when God moves loudly, and then there are seasons when provision follows decisions no one applauded, moments no one saw, and choices you made alone when quitting would have been easier. I know this space intimately. I've lived through nights where obedience felt impractical, where doing the right thing cost comfort, speed, and certainty. Yet heaven records those moments differently than the world does. What you experienced as loss, delay, or restraint was actually alignment being formed beneath the surface. The reason this message feels weighty is because it is not announcing something new being created, but something old being released. The door did not open because you demanded it. It opened because you were trusted with silence, integrity, and patience when nothing seemed to be happening. God often proves provision only after the heart has proven steady. Anointed one. There is a reason your spirit feels alert right now, even if your mind is still catching up. Heaven responds to inner posture before outward results. I remember a time when my own finances stalled, not because opportunity was absent, but because my identity was still tied to survival. I had to learn how to choose peace over panic, truth over shortcuts, and obedience over applause. Those decisions did not feel spiritual in the moment. They felt lonely, but they created capacity. What is approaching you now is not arriving to rescue you from struggle, but to partner with the maturity you developed through it. God does not release increase into chaos. He releases it into order, humility, and readiness. That is why what is coming will not feel frantic. It will feel precise. You are not being hurried into abundance. You are being introduced to stewardship. And when heaven releases provision this way, it does not announce itself with noise, but with clarity. Chosen one. If you feel both anticipation and calm at the same time, that is not confusion. That is confirmation. Provision that comes from God does not destabilize the soul. It settles it. What you are stepping into will not require you to abandon your values or betray your discernment. It will require you to remain present, grounded, and receptive. In Scripture, the promise often arrived after the altar was built in private, after the decision was made before the miracle appeared. You are standing at that threshold now, not because you force the timing, but because the timing finally trusts you. Stay here. In the next part, I will help you recognize the signs of this transfer already forming around your life and how to receive it without fear or self-sabotage. Chosen one. What you are sensing now is not imagination, and it is not emotional suggestion. It is recognition. Provision often arrives after quiet decisions were made, because those decisions shape the inner architecture required to hold what is coming. I remember choosing integrity when no one was watching, choosing restraint when reaction felt justified, choosing patience when speed looked like the smarter option. Those choices did not pay immediately. In fact, for a while, they appeared to cost me. Yet later, I realized they were building something invisible but essential: stability. God releases increase into stability, not desperation. What approaches you now is not a reward for effort alone, but a response to alignment that matured in secret. Anointed One. Heaven does not rush abundance toward people who still see themselves as temporary, replaceable, or small. That is why the silence lingered. You were being trained to sit with uncertainty without losing your center. You were learning how to trust without needing constant reassurance. I know how uncomfortable that season can be. You pray, you act responsibly, you show up, yet nothing seems to move. But something was moving. Your identity was being recalibrated. Provision does not follow noise. It follows readiness. And readiness is rarely visible from the outside. The fact that you are still here listening with a steady heart is proof that something in you has already shifted. Chosen One. You may notice subtle changes around you before anything tangible appears. Conversations feel different. Opportunities hint instead of announce. Old pressures lose their grip. This is how divine order rearranges the field. When God intervenes, He often removes interference before adding supply. That includes people, habits, and internal patterns that would have diluted what is meant for you. I have watched doors close that I once prayed would stay open, only to realize later that those closures protected me from carrying blessing into unsafe spaces. What is coming to you will arrive clean, without shadow, without strings, because timing handled what force could not. Anointed One, surrender here does not mean passivity. It means cooperation. There is a difference. You are not being asked to stop living or stop preparing. You are being asked to stop straining. Faith at this level feels quieter. It looks like showing up without anxiety, making decisions without fear, and allowing God to coordinate outcomes you cannot control. Scripture hints at this when it says, "Provision is added, not chased." I learned that when I stopped defining my worth by urgency, things began to flow with less resistance. What aligns with you does not need to be hunted. It recognizes you when the time is right. Chosen One, let me speak plainly now. What is forming around your life will require discernment as much as gratitude. Not every invitation is aligned. Not every open door is yours. Provision from God carries peace, not pressure. It will not demand that you compromise your soul to secure it. If something approaches you wrapped in fear, hurry, or manipulation, pause. What is truly released by heaven can wait for you to breathe. You will know it by how it settles your spirit rather than excites your ego. Anointed One. As this part closes, stay present with what you are feeling without trying to define it too quickly. Some confirmations arrive as quiet certainty, not fireworks. You do not need to announce anything yet. Let what is aligning finish its work. In the next part, I will guide you through how to recognize the test that often comes just before visible provision, and how to pass it without losing what you waited so long to receive. Before we move forward, take inventory of your inner responses over the past weeks. Notice how reactions softened, how urgency lost its edge, how your prayers became simpler. That simplicity is not emptiness, it is refinement. I have seen this pattern repeat right before provision. The soul grows quieter because it no longer needs to argue with the future. This is a sign of trust settling in. Let it settle fully. Do not rush to label outcomes. Stay teachable and steady. Keep choosing what is right, even when it's ordinary. Chosen One. There is a pattern that almost no one talks about yet. It repeats with precision in every true season of provision. Right before something tangible arrives, there is always a moment of testing, not dramatic, not obvious, but internal. It shows up as restlessness, second-guessing, or a quiet temptation to move too soon. I have lived through this more times than I can count. Just when alignment was complete, I felt an urge to explain myself, to force progress, to secure what God had already set in motion. That urge is not random. It is the final place where fear tries to reassert authority. What you do here matters because this moment is less about faith in God and more about trust in the version of yourself that God has already formed. Anointed One. The test before provision is rarely about morality. It is about identity. Will you act like someone who still believes they must chase, prove, or scramble, or will you remain still enough to let what is aligned come to you without distortion? I remember being offered opportunities that looked like answers to prayer, but required me to abandon the very boundaries that had healed me. Saying no felt irrational at the time, but later I understood that provision from heaven never asks you to betray your growth. It builds on it. That is why discernment sharpens right before increase. You're not becoming more cautious, you're becoming clearer. Chosen One. If you have recently felt a strange pull to revisit old plans, old people, or old strategies, pause. This is often the mind looking backward because it doesn't yet trust the unfamiliar calm of alignment. Scarcity teaches urgency. Abundance teaches timing. God transitions us from one language to the other slowly because the nervous system needs to learn safety without control. That is why the silence before provision can feel uncomfortable. There is nothing to fix, nothing to force, nothing to manage, only presence. And presence is where faith matures. Anointed One, let me share something personal. There was a season when everything in me wanted to act, yet nothing in my spirit felt rushed. I learned that God was not withholding action. He was training me to move from rest. When provision finally arrived, it did not feel explosive. It felt obvious. Looking back, I could see how every delay had positioned me to recognize the right door instead of running through the first open one. That is what is happening to you now. You are being taught to recognize resonance, not excitement. Alignment, not adrenaline. Jais. Wanchaturansan. This is also the stage where distractions increase. Not necessarily negative ones, but noise that pulls attention outward. Busy thoughts, sudden obligations, emotional fluctuations that seem to come from nowhere. These are not signs that something is wrong. They are indicators that something is near. The closer provision gets, the more important it becomes to guard your inner space. You do not need to withdraw from life, but you do need to stay anchored. Simple practices help here: slowing your breath, simplifying your words, choosing clarity over commentary. Heaven speaks most clearly when the soul is not competing with itself. Anointed One. The provision you are stepping into is not just financial or circumstantial. It is relational, positional, and internal. It will change how people respond to you, how decisions flow toward you, and how responsibility finds you. That is why the final test asks one quiet question: can you receive without shrinking or inflating? Can you accept support without guilt? Can you step forward without needing to explain your journey? These are signs of readiness. I had to learn that humility does not mean refusing increase. It means receiving it without losing yourself. Chosen One. If part of you still wonders whether this is real, that does not disqualify you. Doubt at this stage is often a memory of past disappointment, not a prophecy of future failure. You are allowed to feel cautious while remaining open. God does not require emotional certainty. He requires willingness. And willingness looks like staying present, making clean decisions, and not abandoning your inner alignment for temporary reassurance. You have already passed many tests without realizing it. This one simply asks you to stay where you are. Anointed One, as this segment comes to a close, resist the urge to anticipate details. You do not need to map outcomes. You do not need to rehearse explanations. Let provision reveal itself in sequence. There is wisdom in unfolding. In the next part, I will speak about how to recognize the first visible sign of this shift and how to respond so that what begins does not stall. For now, stay steady. What is approaching does not need to be chased. It is already aware of where you are. Chosen One, when provision begins to cross from the unseen into the visible, it rarely announces itself as a finished miracle. It almost always arrives as a sign, small enough to be dismissed, clear enough to be recognized by someone who has been paying attention. This is where many people hesitate or misstep, not because they lack faith, but because they expect certainty to arrive all at once. I learned that the first sign is not the blessing itself. It is an invitation to respond correctly. It might look like a conversation that shifts tone, an opportunity that feels oddly calm, or a delay that suddenly makes sense. When this happens, your role is not to rush forward or retreat, but to stay congruent with who you have become. Anointed One. The first visible sign often tests whether you will treat alignment as fragile or grounded. Scarcity taught many of us to overreact, to grab, defend, or explain. Abundance teaches restraint. I remember receiving an unexpected message that hinted at opportunity, and my instinct was to reply immediately with enthusiasm. Something in me paused, not fear, discernment. I responded simply, clearly, without urgency. That response kept the channel clean. When provision is truly aligned, it does not require performance. It responds to steadiness. This is the posture you are being invited into now. Chosen One. Pay attention to how your body responds when the sign appears. The right movement often feels settled, not rushed. There is a quiet yes that does not need validation. If something pulls you into anxiety, comparison, or self-doubt, it may be premature. God does not confuse the spirit to confirm His will. He clarifies it. That does not mean the path is obvious. It means it is coherent. Even if details are missing, the direction will feel internally consistent. Trust that sensation. It is one of the ways divine guidance speaks without words. Anointed. One another important truth here is that the first sign may not look like increase. It may look like responsibility. Provision often arrives wearing the clothing of trust. Someone relies on you. A decision carries weight. A role expands quietly. This is not a burden. It is preparation. I once thought provision would remove effort. Instead, it refined it. It redirected energy from survival into purpose. If what is coming asks you to show up with integrity and presence rather than urgency, that is a good sign. God invests in people who can carry influence without losing humility. Chosen One. This is also the moment to resist the temptation to announce everything. When the first sign appears, keep it sacred. Not secret out of fear, but protected out of wisdom. There are seasons to share and seasons to steward quietly. Early disclosure can dilute clarity. I learned that when I shared too soon, I absorbed opinions that were not aligned with the process. Silence is not isolation. It is incubation. Let what is beginning take shape before you invite commentary into it. Anointed One. You may also notice that some things fall away naturally at this stage. Interests shift. Old goals lose urgency. This is not loss, it is focus. Provision aligns priorities before it expands resources. If you feel less drawn to what once consumed, you honor that. God often simplifies the field so the next step can be taken without divided attention. This is especially important when finances or opportunities are involved. Clarity protects increase. Chosen one, respond to the first sign with gratitude, not expectation. Gratitude keeps the channel open without demanding outcomes. Expectation can quietly turn into pressure. When I thanked God for early confirmations, without trying to predict their outcome, things unfolded with less resistance. Gratitude anchors you in the present where discernment is strongest. Expectation pulls you into the future where imagination can interfere. Stay present. Let sequence do its work. Anointed one. If you are wondering how to act without overacting, remember this: do what is required, not what is dramatic. Return the call. Show up prepared. Speak honestly. Make the clean decision. Then stop. Do not add layers. Provision multiplies when simplicity is respected. God often advances people who know when to move and when to wait. That balance is not instinctual, it is learned. You have been learning it. Chosen one. As we pause here, I want you to reflect on something specific. Think back over the last few weeks. Notice any moments where restraint felt wiser than reaction, where peace guided you more than impulse. Those moments were rehearsals. You were practicing for this stage without knowing it. That is why you are ready now. In the next part, I will speak about how to sustain alignment after the first sign appears, so that what begins does not stall, retreat, or fragment under pressure. For now, remain grounded. What has started moving toward you is responding to who you are being, not what you're doing. Chosen one. Sustaining alignment after the first sign appears is often more challenging than waiting for the sign itself. Waiting trains patience, but sustaining alignment trains consistency. This is the stage where provision tests whether you will remain the same person once movement begins. I have seen people wait faithfully for years, only to sabotage momentum by changing their posture the moment things started working. Not intentionally, but unconsciously. They tightened, hurried, explained too much, or tried to control outcomes that no longer required force. God does not withdraw provision because of mistakes. He slows it when identity starts drifting from alignment. That is why this part matters. Anointed one. When something begins to open, your nervous system may interpret it as a signal to speed up. That response was learned in survival seasons, but abundance does not accelerate through pressure. It expands through steadiness. I remember a moment when doors finally began to open in my own life, and I felt an impulse to maximize everything immediately. Say yes to all offers, prove readiness, secure outcomes. What stopped me was a quiet inner check that said, remain who you were when nothing was happening. That instruction changed everything. I moved forward, but at the same pace as my peace. Chosen one. Alignment is not maintained by doing more. It is maintained by doing less better. Fewer words, cleaner decisions, stronger boundaries. Provision stays where clarity lives. If you feel tempted to revisit old coping strategies, overworking, overthinking, or over-explaining, pause. These habits were useful once, but they are not required here. God is not asking you to perform your worth. He is responding to the version of you that learned how to stand without collapsing or inflating. Anointed one. You may notice that people respond to you differently now. Some with curiosity, some with subtle resistance, some with sudden interest. This is normal. Provision changes visibility even before it changes circumstances. Do not personalize these reactions. They are reflections of shift, not judgment. Your role is not to manage perception. It is to stay congruent. When you do, alignment protects you from misinterpretation. Silence becomes strength. Presence becomes authority. Chosen. Another way alignment is sustained is through rhythm. Not urgency, but rhythm. Sleep, rest, honest reflection. Prayer that is simple rather than intense. I learned that when I tried to spiritually hold provision through constant effort, I actually blocked flow. When I trusted rhythm, things moved naturally. God designed provision to coexist with life, not replace it. If what is coming requires you to abandon your health, peace, or values, it is misaligned. True increase integrates. It does not dominate. Anointed one. This is also the stage where discernment sharpens around timing. Not every opportunity is immediate. Some are preparatory. Some are confirmations. Some are tests of patience. Ask yourself, not, is this good, but is this now? That question saved me from missteps more than any other. Timing is the language of wisdom. Provision respects it. When you move too early, you carry weight you were meant to avoid. When you move too late, momentum cools. Alignment teaches you the difference. Chosen one. Let me speak to fear quietly. Fear does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers through over-planning, excessive caution, or reluctance to receive help. If you notice yourself resisting support, ask why. Independence once kept you safe. It does not need to isolate you now. Provision often arrives through partnership structure or shared responsibility. Receiving does not make you weak. It confirms trust. God often tests whether we can receive as gracefully as we endured. Anointed one sustaining alignment also means staying teachable. Not impressionable, but teachable. There is a difference. You are not required to absorb every opinion, but you are invited to remain responsive to wisdom. Sometimes guidance comes through unexpected voices or ordinary moments. I once received crucial clarity from a casual comment that landed at the exact right time. When alignment is active, even small inputs can carry significance. Stay open without becoming porous. Chosen one. If you feel moments of doubt surface again, do not panic. Doubt does not cancel alignment. It reveals where reassurance is still needed. Bring it into honesty, not suppression. God is not offended by questions. He is patient with process. What matters is that doubt does not become direction. Let it pass through without granting it authority. You have already come too far to let old fears narrate new seasons. Anointed one. As this part closes, I want you to recognize something important. You are not maintaining alignment through effort alone. Grace is involved. The same hand that opened the door is sustaining the pathway. Your responsibility is presence, not perfection. Stay aware, stay grounded, stay honest. In the next part, I will speak about how provision reshapes identity and how to step into that shift without losing humility or self-trust. For now, remain steady. What is unfolding is responding to your consistency, not your intensity. Chosen one. When provision begins to stabilize, something deeper starts to shift identity. This is the part many people are unprepared for, not because they lack faith, but because they underestimate how deeply scarcity shaped their self-concept. Provision does not just change what you have, it challenges who you believe you are allowed to be. I remember realizing that my discomfort was no longer about lack, but about visibility. It felt unfamiliar to be trusted, to be chosen, to be positioned without struggle attached. God was not changing my circumstances as much as He was inviting me to inhabit a new internal posture. That invitation is reaching you now. Anointed one identity shift often brings subtle tension. You may feel pulled between gratitude for what is emerging and guilt for leaving an old version of yourself behind. Let me be clear, growth is not betrayal. You are not abandoning humility by accepting expansion. You are honoring obedience by stepping into what was prepared. God does not elevate people to shame them for who they were. He elevates them because of who they became. The endurance, discernment, and restraint you developed were not meant to trap you in survival. They were meant to prepare you for stewardship. Chosen one, notice how your inner dialogue changes during this stage. Old thoughts may surface. Am I ready? What if this disappears? Who am I to carry this? These questions are not signs of unworthiness. They are signs of transition. Identity stretches before it settles. I had to learn that confidence does not arrive as certainty. It arrives as willingness to show up, to learn to lead without pretending to have all the answers. God does not require you to know everything. He requires you to remain honest and anchored. Anointed One humility in this season looks different than before. It is no longer about minimizing yourself to stay safe. It is about honoring responsibility without ego. True humility is not shrinking, it is clarity. You know what you carry, and you know it is not yours alone. That awareness keeps pride from taking root. When provision flows, remember where strength came from. Not from force, but from faith practiced quietly over time. That remembrance stabilizes identity. Chosen one, you may also feel a shift in how you relate to struggle. Struggle once defined your rhythm. It structured your days, sharpened your instincts, and justified your vigilance. As provision settles, struggle loses its central role. This can feel disorienting. Peace may feel unfamiliar. Ease may feel undeserved. Let yourself adjust. God is not testing whether you can suffer. He is revealing whether you can rest without guilt. Rest is not laziness, it is trust embodied. Anointed One relationships also adjust when identity shifts. Some connections were sustained by shared survival, shared complaints, or shared limitations. As you change, resonance changes. This does not mean you are becoming distant or superior. It means you are becoming congruent. I learned that not everyone is meant to walk every season with you. Some walked with you through preparation. Others will walk with you through fulfillment, release without resentment, honor without attachment. This keeps the heart clean. Chosen. One another challenge at this stage is resisting the urge to prove transformation. You do not need to demonstrate success for validation. The fruit will speak in time. Overexposure can distort alignment. Let consistency do what explanation cannot. When God elevates, He does not ask you to announce yourself. He positions you so others notice naturally. Stay grounded. Let your presence carry authority rather than your words. Anointed. One provision also brings increased influence, even subtly. People listen differently. Decisions weigh more. This is why character remains central. Influence magnifies intention. What you nurture internally becomes more visible externally. Continue choosing integrity in small things. Continue listening before speaking. Continue responding rather than reacting. These practices are not behind you. They are what keep you steady ahead. Chosen one. I want to address fear of loss directly. Fear often resurfaces when something good feels real. The mind tries to protect by imagining disappearance. But provision rooted in alignment is not fragile. It is resilient. God is not teasing you with temporary relief. He is establishing pattern. Patterns create stability. Stability allows growth. If something was released after preparation, it is meant to remain through stewardship. Trust the process that brought you here. It does not abandon halfway. Anointed One, as this part comes to a close, let yourself acknowledge the shift without rushing to define it. Identity settles through practice, not declaration. Live into it. Make decisions from it. Rest inside it. In the next part, I will speak about how to use what is coming wisely, sustainably, and without losing the tenderness that made you trustworthy in the first place. For now, remain present. You're not becoming someone else. You're finally becoming yourself without the weight of scarcity attached. Chosen One. When provision is finally in your hands or clearly within reach, the question quietly shifts from, can I receive this, to, how will I use this without losing myself? This is where wisdom becomes more important than momentum. I have seen provision arrive clean and purposeful, only to become distorted when people treated it as proof instead of responsibility. God does not give increase to change your personality. He gives it to extend your impact. What you carry now is not meant to impress anyone. It is meant to build, repair, and stabilize what could not stand before. Anointed One. The first principle of using provision wisely is understanding that abundance amplifies whatever it touches. If there is clarity, it amplifies clarity. If there is fear, it amplifies fear. That is why your inner life mattered so much before this moment. You were not delayed. You were being refined. I learned that money, opportunity, and influence do not create character, they reveal it. This is not something to fear. It is something to respect. You have already done the hardest work by choosing integrity when it cost you. Now that same integrity becomes your compass. Chosen One, resist the temptation to use provision to erase your past. You are not meant to outrun who you were. You are meant to redeem that story. There were seasons when you learned empathy because you lacked resources. There were moments when restraint taught you discernment. Do not abandon those lessons. They are not weaknesses. They are assets. God often entrusts abundance to those who remember what it felt like to need because they build with compassion rather than control. Let that memory guide how you allocate time, energy, and resources. Anointed. One another essential practice here is pacing. Just because you can do more does not mean you should do everything at once. Expansion that lasts is measured. I once assumed that using provision faithfully meant immediate scale. What I learned instead was that sustainability honors God more than speed. Build systems, not stress. Choose quality over quantity. Allow growth to mature. Provision that grows slowly develops roots. Provision that explodes too fast often collapses under its own weight. Chosen One, boundaries become even more important now. Increased capacity attracts increased demand. Not all demand is assignment. Some requests will appeal to your compassion. Others will appeal to your ego. Neither should override discernment. Saying no does not make you ungrateful. It makes you responsible. God did not give you provision so you could exhaust yourself trying to meet expectations that were never assigned to you. Stewardship includes protecting what was given so it can remain effective. Anointed. One, generosity is part of this season, but generosity is not recklessness. True generosity flows from clarity, not pressure. Give where you are led, not where you are guilted. Support what aligns, not what manipulates. I learned that when giving is done from peace, it multiplies impact. When it is done from fear of judgment, it drains joy. God loves a willing heart, not a coerced one. Let your generosity be intentional and quiet. It does not need an audience to be meaningful. Chosen One. You may notice that your sense of purpose sharpens as provision settles. Vision becomes more specific. Ideas gain structure. This is not coincidence. Provision often unlocks assignment. There are things you could not build before because the resources were not present. Now they are. But do not rush to announce your plans. Let vision mature in practice before you share it widely. Many things grow best underground before they break the surface. Anointed One, remain vigilant about humility, not as self-denial, but as grounded awareness. Humility here means remembering the source. You did not engineer this alone. You partnered with obedience, patience, and grace. Keep acknowledging that partnership. Gratitude keeps the channel open. Pride narrows it. This does not mean you deny your effort. It means you recognize that effort without alignment would not have produced this outcome. Chosen One, there will be moments when you are tempted to revert, to manage everything yourself, to over-control outcomes, to self-protect excessively. These habits once served you. Thank them, then release them. You are not in survival mode anymore. You are in stewardship mode. The skills are different. Survival asks, how do I get through this? Stewardship asks, how do I sustain this shift? The question and behavior follows. Anointed One. As we approach the close of this segment, I want you to hear this clearly. You are allowed to enjoy what God has given without guilt. Joy does not dishonor struggle, it completes it. Rest does not betray effort, it validates it. Let yourself experience peace without waiting for the other shoe to drop. That anxiety belongs to an old chapter. This chapter is built on trust. In the final part, I will speak about legacy, how what you are carrying now extends beyond you, and how to anchor this season so it blesses not just your present, but what comes after you. For now, stay grounded. Use what you have with wisdom. Let provision serve purpose, and let purpose remain clean. Chosen One legacy is not something you decide later after success settles. Legacy begins the moment provision is handled with intention instead of impulse. What you are carrying now is not only for comfort or relief, it is a signal that the season has changed and responsibility has expanded. Legacy does not announce itself with noise. It is formed quietly through repeated choices: how you speak when no one is watching, how you decide when pressure rises, how you remain anchored when attention increases. I learned that legacy is less about what you build publicly and more about what you preserve privately. God trusts people who can hold increase without losing tenderness. Anointed One, the most powerful way to anchor this season is to keep your inner life simple. Complexity often creeps in when identity tries to impress. Simplicity keeps intention clean. Return often to the practices that sustained you before provision appeared: honest reflection, unhurried prayer, moments of silence where you listen more than you ask. These are not beginner habits. They are maintenance practices. Provision stays where the soul remains grounded. When the inner world is tended, the outer world aligns more easily. Chosen One legacy also means thinking beyond immediate outcomes. Ask yourself not only, what does this do for me now, but what does this make possible later? This question shifts perspective from consumption to cultivation. I remember realizing that some resources were not meant to be spent quickly, but positioned strategically to create stability, opportunity, and access over time. God often gives in ways that teach patience, even in abundance. This protects both the gift and the giver. Anointed One, be mindful of how you tell your story from here forward. You are not obligated to narrate every detail of your journey. Some chapters are meant to be understood, not retold. Speak with honesty, but not with exposure that invites misunderstanding. Your life will speak loudly enough through consistency. When legacy is forming, restraint becomes wisdom. Let people learn who you are by watching how you move, not by hearing how much you explain. Chosen. 1. Remember that legacy includes how others are treated along the way. Provision does not exempt you from kindness, it expands your capacity for it. Use influence gently, lead without domination, decide without diminishing others. I learned that the true measure of stewardship is not how high you rise, but how safe others feel around you as you rise. God honors leaders who create room, not just results. Anointed one. There may be moments when you feel the weight of expectation, your own or others. Release it. Legacy is not perfection. It is faithfulness over time. You are allowed to learn in public without performing. You are allowed to adjust without apology. God did not place you here to freeze you in fear of failure. He placed you here because you proved adaptable, teachable, and resilient. Those qualities matter more than flawless execution. Chosen one, do not underestimate the power of consistency in small things. Show up, keep your word, rest when needed, return to clarity when distracted. These habits compound quietly, creating a life that stands even when circumstances shift. I have seen seasons change suddenly, but character built steadily remains. This is what turns provision into permanence. Anointed one, as this final part settles, let yourself acknowledge the journey without reliving the pain. Honor the past without carrying it forward as weight. You are not forgetting where you came from. You are allowing it to inform where you are going without controlling it. That balance is maturity. That is stewardship. Chosen one, take this moment to breathe and ground yourself in gratitude, not as a ritual, but as recognition. Something has been entrusted to you because you proved trustworthy in quiet places. Let that truth steady you. Let it guide how you move from here. This season does not require urgency, it requires presence. Walk forward with clarity, humility, and confidence. What has been released is meant to last because it is anchored in who you have become. The chosen one, receive this final truth with reverence. You are standing in your Kairos moment. What was decided in silence has now entered motion, and the transfer you sensed is already unfolding. Nothing was delayed, everything was protected until you were ready to carry it with wisdom and peace. Anointed one, walk forward without urgency. What is aligned will not miss you. Stay faithful to the inner posture that brought you here, and let gratitude steady your steps. The confirmations will come quietly, but they will be clear. May favor rest on your decisions, clarity guard your path, and provision meet you in ways that feel ordered, not forced. This season has shifted. Heaven has already gone ahead of you. If this moment resonates, you may leave a quiet amen as an act of alignment. Stay connected, stay present, and receive, because what has begun is meant to last.